School is back in session, so let's talk about how you can stay organized across all your Apple devices. In this video, I'm going to share 30 tips to keep your notes organized, getting research done in Safari, ways to keep your calendar organized, and even automate it with shortcuts for your class schedule and alarms. Cut down on those notifications to help you focus, and a few utilities for the Mac that will make all your work much easier. If you want to skip around, you can check out the chapters right here. I'm going over iPhone, iPad, and Mac tips, and I'm also featuring some powerful iOS 18 specific features. For the first few tips, let's talk about text messaging. Let's say you were out late, maybe at a LAN party, and maybe you want to notify someone when you arrive back on campus or home safely. Well, when you're in a text message conversation, hit the plus button, go to More, and then you can use the iPhone's check-in feature. This way you can let your friends know you've arrived safely, hit Continue, and your progress will actually be shown on their device. You can choose how much data you'd like to share with a friend. We can go to Limited, where they'll still be able to track our progress. And then it's going to share all that your friend will see, like when you arrive at your destination, if you're delayed, and even if your iPhone goes offline. Just tap Send to Check-in, and then your friend will be notified of your progress. Number 2, if you'd like to automate some notifications to your friends or family through text messages, there's some shortcuts you can set up very quickly. I'll actually put links in the video description where you could just download these, and tapping these shortcuts will get the current location of your device and then your travel time and automatically send that in a text message to a friend or family member. Again, links to download the shortcuts will be in the video description, or you can even customize it with multiple locations like from work or the gym and send it to whatever specific contacts you would like. And one last text messages feature, once you upgrade to iOS 18 on your iPhone, you'll actually be able to send texts at a later date. Maybe you need to text your professor, but you don't want to wake them because it's 11:30 at night. Well, when you tap the plus button, you'll now see a send later option where you can choose a day and time to send this text message, and then you can have it send the next morning, a couple days from now, whenever you would like. This next group of tips is when you're doing research and web browsing in Safari. It's helpful to keep track of all the articles you're looking at and notes you're taking. Let's say you're researching black holes and I'm on space.com doing some research. Now I can read this full article, but maybe I want to know, is this actually worth my time? Well, with iOS 18, certain websites actually have summaries automatically built in. If you missed it, I just tap that symbol right here on the left of the address bar. This works on your iPhone, iPad, or your Mac, and I can actually see a summary right here. Then if I go into reader mode, certain websites might actually have a table of contents that I can browse right here on my device. Here's a summary that I can read, and now I can decide whether or not this is worth saving. Now, some websites might not have summaries built in, like here I'm on nationalgeographic.com, but if you're on iOS 18.1 and have Apple Intelligence, meaning an iPhone 15 Pro or newer, or an M1 or newer iPad or Mac, there's actually an Apple Intelligence summarize action, which whether or not there's a summary available, it will automatically synthesize the article and give you a one-paragraph summary, then you can decide whether or not to save it. Now let's say you have found some worthwhile articles. How do you want to save these in an organized way? I have 3 articles here on my Mac from NASA, Space.com, and that National Geographic. Well, a great way to save multiple articles on a specific topic is using tab groups. If I have these 3 tabs open here in Safari, I can go up to File and then choose New Tab Group with 3 tabs. That's going to create a brand new tab group here on the right. I'll title that tab group, and now all of my research can live here in the tab group. Then I can go back to my personal or your other Safari profiles, and you have a clean start. And let's say you're browsing somewhere, maybe on another device, you can actually add a tab to that tab group just by right-clicking on your Mac here on the tab, choose Move to Tab Group, and then you can add it to that black holes tab group for your research later. Then if I'm on my iPhone and I click a link or go to a website that I want to add for my research, I can tap and hold on the address bar down here, tap Move to Tab Group, and then I can save this to my Black Holes tab group for research. Then back here on my Mac, I can expand the left-hand sidebar, and if I go to that Black Holes tab group, there's the website I just saved from my iPhone. A great way to sync your research across all your devices. Then if you want to quickly get all the links for the tabs you have in the single tab group, just click the 3 dots. You can share this tab group with someone else and even collaborate on it, copy the links, and even do things like show an overview where you can quickly X out or even search through your tabs here. Now let's say you're starting to compile some of this research and you want it to Apple Notes. Well, here I have my Apple Notes application. Again, this syncs across all my devices, and I already have a note here started with black holes. Well, once you find a website that you know you want to use, you can hit the share button and then add it to that Apple Note quickly. You can do this from your Mac, iPad, or iPhone. Choose your black holes note that you already created. You can add a comment if you would like. You can copy and paste that summary that Safari provided, which is a great way to let you know what that article was about. And now that link is here in your Apple Notes as well. Keep all your notes in one place. And the reason for that is having all your notes in a single application. I actually use the app called Bear. It is a paid subscription, but Apple Notes works just great and it's free on all your devices. I just prefer Bear, and this way I can search through all of my notes, and every note that I've ever created with that search term gets pulled up quickly, easy for me to find. This also works in Apple Notes, where you can search across all your Apple Notes at once. Take all of your notes in one place in a single app, which makes searching much more powerful. Now let's say I added a bunch of text to an Apple Note here, and I'd like to get a quick summary. So here I have a bunch of text on my iPhone in Apple Notes. Well, again, if you have iOS 18.1 or newer on an iPhone 15 Pro or newer, you have access to Apple Intelligence anywhere you can select text. For instance, I just selected all that text that I copy and pasted, and I can tap Writing Tools in that little contextual menu, and then I have all these options. I can rewrite that text, summarize it, and even get bullet points from what I have selected. I'll tap Key Points, and now I have bullet points from the text that I had selected. And again, you can do this anywhere, even in emails and text messages. Let's actually move to the iPad. If you have an iPad, whether you're in middle school, high school, or college, Apple Notes, again, is a great place to keep all that information. And you can see everything is syncing. Even though this is the first time I'm picking up my iPad today, all that information on black holes is right here. Well, a great feature on the iPad is actually called Quick Note. To make sure we have this enabled, let's go to the settings, go to multitasking and gestures, then scroll to the bottom and you'll see swipe finger from corner, and you have two options here. You can choose bottom left corner and add quick note or screenshot. Let's do a screenshot there. And then bottom right corner, let's choose quick note. Now that I have quick note enabled, I can swipe from the bottom right corner and start taking a note with my Apple Pencil right away. And that'll work wherever I am in any app. I can tap done, and then these quick notes are saved in the Apple Notes app. Just open the left-hand sidebar, go to Quick Notes, and all of those notes are saved in one place. And again, this works anywhere. So if you're doing your research in Safari and you want to take a quick note, just swipe in from the top, just swipe in from the bottom right. Maybe you want to start a new note and you're talking about black holes. And because I swiped from the corner in another app, I actually have the option to add a link to the Safari webpage to the note. So I'll add that link, let's hit done. And if we go back to Apple Notes, now you'll see we have the second note, what I wrote about black holes, and the link where we were at when we started that note. And if you saw, I programmed the bottom left corner to take a screenshot, so I can just swipe in from the bottom left, and I quickly took a screenshot. I can mark it up, crop it, whatever I'd like. A few more quick notes features. Let's say you're in one of your classes, and you see here I have lots of folders and even subfolders, which I would recommend using to keep yourself organized. So I have a classes folder, and then subfolders for different classes. Let's say we're in a math lecture right now. Well, once you upgrade to iOS 18 and you create a new note, one of the latest features is you have the ability to record audio here in a note. Just tap the paperclip icon and then tap Start Record Audio. And once I press record, not only will this be recording the audio, let's say if you're in a classroom, it's recording the lecture, you can tap the Transcribe button and you will actually get real-time transcription of everything that's being said. And then you can access this transcription later and even get a summary using Apple Intelligence of the entire lecture, all right here on your iPhone, and it'll work on your iPad and Mac with Apple Intelligence. Once I stop the recording, then I'll have this in the note, and I can continue to add other notes if I would like, play the audio I just recorded, or go in and read the transcript. I can even get a summary right here of the entire lecture in just a few seconds. And one of the latest features on iPad and iPhone is Math Notes, which means you can do math anywhere you can type. So let's say there's a little calculation I want to be able to do just right here in Notes. Well, I can just type an equation, and then as soon as I tap the equal sign, it's going to give me the answer right here in Notes. This also works for things like currency conversions. Like I can write $25, add an equal sign, and it'll actually tell me the euro right there without me even asking. You can even do handwritten equations in the new Calculator app on iPad for iPadOS 18, and it will solve those equations in real time. But maybe you want to save stuff, not for research, just for future reference. Well, to do that, I would hit the share button, and instead of adding it to a tab group or a note, just add it to the reading list here on your iPhone. That's a great place to save a bunch of links, and then any of the articles you've saved, if you go to the bookmark icon here, tap over to the glasses, and you'll see all the articles and links you've saved here in your reading list. Now, if you'd like a third-party app for saving links like that, I would recommend an app called AnyBox. I have it right here in the share sheet. I can tap AnyBox. It asks me a few questions like whether I want to star this article, even write a little note. And when I hit save, I can have articles, videos, all kinds of links and media, all saved in my AnyBox. Here's the article in AnyBox, and then I have a bunch of options here. And this also works great for videos, and you can organize things you've saved either by starred, categories, even kinds, things like images or files. And you even have a sources option where you save the article. AnyBox is a great third-party app for that. All right, tip number 13. Once you update to iOS 18, if you want to protect an app behind Face ID or Touch ID, you actually have that option. So let's say I want to protect this app so you have to require Face ID to open it. Well, I can tap Require Face ID. Then you have the option to either require Face ID or hide as well, and I'll show you that in a second. I'll just choose Require Face ID, enter your iPhone passcode, and now if anyone were to try to open this app, let's say that was Snapchat or other texting apps, if they do that, it'll require Face ID and will not unlock until you do it. Then tip number 14, if you want to go a step further, tap and hold on an app that you've locked behind Face ID, and then the next time you go to actually hide an app behind requiring Face ID, choose the Hide and Require Face ID. It's going to give you some information showing where this app is actually going, and now it will disappear from your home screen, it'll disappear from Spotlight search, and it won't even be in your app list here on your iPhone. Instead, if you go over to your app library, which is all the way on the right, scroll to the bottom, there's going to be a new Hidden section. All those apps that you've hidden are here and are only available when you tap this folder and scan your Face ID or put in your iPhone passcode. So not only can you lock apps behind Face ID, but you can also hide them completely from your phone. Number 15, I highly recommend getting a calendar organized. You can use the stock calendar on your iPhone, iPad, and Mac. I actually use a third-party app called Fantastical. It is a paid app, but is incredibly powerful with focus filters and more. I have an entire video on it. I'll link it above and down in the description if you want to see that. But I would recommend creating calendars for your class schedule, personal events. I actually create calendars here on my iCloud account on my iPhone, share it with certain family members. My wife has a concert schedule here. We share that calendar. And then you can turn those calendars on or off. In Fantastical, you can even schedule when those calendars appear or hide. Once you have your calendars organized and your class schedule in those calendars, the next tip is to put a lock screen calendar widget so you can see your next event every time you look at your phone. Tap and hold on your lock screen and then click Customize, go back to the lock screen, and now I can add widgets here under the clock. You can go down to the calendar application and you could choose to put the next event right here on your lock screen. This way, if you have all your classes in your schedule, you can see the next class right here and even where it's at, what time, all from the lock screen. Add the stock calendar widget to your home screen, and then you can actually choose what calendars will appear in the widget. I'll choose a calendar here I know has an event, and now you can see your class schedule in a dedicated widget right here on your home screen. Another really cool thing is once you have your class schedule in a dedicated calendar, you can actually create shortcut automations that will create and set alarms for what time you need to get up tomorrow based on the next calendar event. You can check whether or not you have a class the next day and set an alarm appropriately. I have an entire shortcut on that. I'll put it in the video description and a video where I walk through the creation process. I'll link that video above and down below as well. Tip number 18, limit as many notifications as possible. This way you can focus on your schoolwork. I'm going to go to the Settings app and then go down to Notifications. One thing you can do is schedule a notification summary and then send certain apps into that summary period, which only shows up once or twice a day, rather than getting all those notifications at once. Let's say Amazon, I can say put it in the scheduled summary here rather than immediate delivery. Or I could just turn off the notifications entirely. And with Apple Intelligence, you can actually summarize previews of notifications from any app, which is pretty cool. I would also recommend if you have lots of emails or text messages and you see those little red badges all over the place, it can be pretty distracting. Let's be real. I would turn off badges for pretty much any application. I only leave badges on for text messages. So I will go in and turn off badges for as many apps as you can. And number 19, if you want to get notified of important emails, maybe from specific senders, there's a great feature in the stock Apple Mail app, and this works across your iPhone, iPad, or your Mac, and that's called VIP. And once you tap the sender's information, you'll see a new Add to VIP feature. I'm going to tap that, and now this contact is one of my VIPs. You'll also see a little star next to their name in the email list, letting you know they're in that VIP list. You can swipe over into your mailboxes and actually see just the emails from your VIP senders, and then you can edit that VIP list by adding or removing people here. But once you've added some VIP contacts, we can go back into the notification settings, go down to Mail, and then scroll down to Customize Notifications at the bottom. Once here, I'm going to turn off notifications for every email account, except you'll see there's a separate place for VIP. If I go to that VIP section, now I can set a specific sound and alerts. I left badges off. This way I'll only be notified when someone in my VIP list sends me an email. Tip number 20, another great way to be able to focus on schoolwork, research, or writing is focus modes on iPhone. I have an entire video setting up focus modes. There's some that are already built in like Do Not Disturb, and this way it will mute notifications from anyone except people that you specify. So you can go into the People tab and just choose a few people that can get through when you're in that Do Not Disturb focus mode. You can set up multiple focus modes, even have these run on a schedule. Like I have an evening focus mode where only certain people can text me after dinner time. You can also set what apps can send you notifications when a focus mode is active, customize what home screen and Apple Watch face appears during a focus mode, set it to a time schedule, and there's even something called focus filters where you can choose what calendars you see and what email inboxes you see when it's active. Again, I walked through the entire process of setting up focus modes in the video above and the description. Number 21, keeping track of your tasks. I would highly recommend just using Apple Reminders. It is actually an incredibly powerful app with subtasks, folders. You can share lists with your friends or family. Reminders is an incredible application. There's even great shortcuts for adding multiple reminders at once. I'll put a link to this shortcut in the description, but you can batch add reminders. Let's say we want to call this a set. I'll call it black holes. And then you can add multiple reminders by line. We'll add a couple tasks separating by new lines. And now this is actually going to add a new list in the Reminders app. And you'll see here's that new list with all the subtasks that I created using that shortcut. Again, link to that shortcut is in the description. But another powerful feature is you can actually drag things into the Reminders app and it will create links to whatever you dragged. For instance, let's say someone texted me something and I actually want to set a reminder based on that text. Here in my conversations, I'm going to tap and hold on a text conversation, and you can see I can start dragging it around and I'm holding his face. I can actually swipe home, go to the Reminders app, and when I let go, this is going to create a new reminder with a link to that text message conversation. Then I can go in and title it, and when I tap the little green message icon, it actually brings me back to that text message conversation. That also works with URLs. I can tap and hold on this address bar, start dragging it around. You'll see it's now on my pointer. I'll go back to the Reminders app, let go once I get there, and this is going to create a new reminder with the link that I dragged over. This even works for images. I'll tap and hold on this image that was in the article, start dragging it around, go to Reminders, let go, and that's going to create a reminder with that image attached. You can actually attach lots of different content to reminders, plus choose to do things like remind me when messaging a certain person or remind me at a location. Reminders is incredibly powerful, and you can drag all kinds of media and content directly into the app. All right, number 24, I'm going to go back to the Mac because this is Mac specific. I highly recommend using a Clipboard Manager. What this does is it can live in your menu bar, and every time you copy something, either with Command-C or right-clicking and copying, it's going to keep a history of that here in the app. And then you can even search your clipboard history. Maybe you copied a YouTube link yesterday and you just can't remember where it was. Well, just search for YouTube and you'll see all the results right here, a complete history of your clipboard. This is an app called Pastebot. I did an entire video on Pastebot and another alternative. I'll link that above and in the description. Another great utility for a Mac is called TextExpander. This means you can program just short little text snippets like semicolon and then a few letters, and then it will expand to whatever you'd like. To show you what that looks like, I'll go back to Apple Notes here, and I have semicolon PTSW, and that actually expands to the URL of my tech podcast, which you should totally listen. New episodes every Thursday. You can go to primarytech.fm or just search for Primary Technology wherever you get your podcasts. It's also here on YouTube, so I'll link that channel above and in the description. But this is also helpful. I actually have ChatGPT prompts that will pull from my clipboard, automatically have a prompt in that little snippet. This is why I can quickly use the ChatGPT Mac app to do things like summarize articles, help me with titles for videos, and more. Highly recommend getting a Clipboard Manager and trying TextExpander. Tip number 26, here in the home stretch, once you update to iOS 18, there's actually a dedicated passwords app here on your iPhone. Oh look, and there's Primary Technology, my tech podcast. If you go into the Passwords app, this is where you want to save any logins, whether it's for your school, websites, whatever, save everything in the Passwords app. It will also autofill using your Face ID or Touch ID. And another cool feature, this is specifically in the iOS 18 Passwords app, is when you go to a Wi-Fi network, now you can actually tap into that Wi-Fi network, you can tap to see the password, or show a QR code. This way a friend or family member can scan it and automatically connect to the Wi-Fi network you already have. You have a school Wi-Fi network that you have the Wi-Fi password saved. It's a fun way just to send QR codes and then have people easily join the network. Number 28, you might have some long days on campus and your iPhone battery might not last the whole day. Well, I would recommend getting a battery pack for your iPhone. One of my favorites was still Apple's MagSafe Battery pack. We don't know if they're going to update this with the iPhone 16. You can still get them used on Amazon, but otherwise, I would highly recommend getting a Qi2 battery pack. You can see I've definitely used this one a lot. This one is from Anker. It is one of the best available right now. They do have a newer model, which I'll link down in the video description, but this will charge your iPhone at about 11 to 15 watts, so much faster than most other MagSafe battery packs. Has a built-in little stand here, and it'll charge your phone 1 to 1.5 times. It's pretty thick, but if you need to get through a day, having this in your backpack or bag, really helpful accessory to keep your battery charged. Number 29, if you're still in the habit of going here and then swiping closed all your apps, don't do that. It's actually better for your iPhone and your iPad to leave those apps open. I have an entire video explaining it. I know it's hard to believe, but just watch it right up here. I'll explain everything. All right, and tip number 30, when you're at college or traveling, making sure your devices are backed up is really crucial. So go to the Settings app on your iPhone and your iPad, go to the very top where your name is, tap your name, go to the iCloud setting here, and check the iCloud backup. Make sure you have a recent backup, but more importantly, make sure you have Backup This iPhone toggled on, and you can even choose to backup over cellular. Backup as many devices as your iCloud storage allows, and I would even recommend it is worth it to pay for iCloud storage to have your devices backed up. Or at the very least, make sure you go to Photos and that Sync This iPhone Photos is enabled. Optimize your phone storage so it's not taking up room on your actual device, but sync your photos. You can double check that setting also by going to the main settings screen, go down to Apps, this is an iOS 18, Photos was typically on that main screen before, go to Photos, and make sure iCloud Photos is enabled. You're taking a lot of photos probably, whether you're in college or high school, and you do not want to lose them. So sync your photos and back up your devices to iCloud if you can. So those are 30 tips for back to school and just keeping your life organized for your iPhone, iPad, and Mac. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or you're looking for more tips on research or organization or more shortcuts, which actually have a bunch of videos on shortcuts automations that will speed up all your productivity. You can check out one of those videos right up here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel before you go, hit that like button, and if you want to know more about customizing your iPhone home screen and some of the features coming to iOS 18, check out this video right up here where I walk you through a lot of those new features and getting your iPhone set up just how you'd like. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.